Confucius, which now form the province of Shandong. Two masters, Lao Tzu and Confucius. Legend has it that the two masters met more than once, Lao Tzu being somewhat senior to Confucius. In a probably apocryphal chapter of the later The Book of Taoist Master Zhuang, their encounters are described with a mischievously mocking Taoist sense of humor. Confucius had reached the age of 51, and still had not heard the Tao. Finally he went south to Pei, and called on Lao Tzu. "Ah, here you are," said Lao Tzu. "I've heard of you as a worthy man from the north. Have you attained the Tao?" "Not yet," replied Confucius. "How have you sought it?" "I sought it through rules and regulations. 5 years went by, and I could not attain it." "How else did you seek it?" asked Lao Tzu. "I sought it in the yin and the yang. 12 years went by, and still I could not attain it." "Of course not," replied Lao Tzu. "The Tao cannot be sought in this manner. The perfecti of olden times wandered freely in the wilds. They found nourishment in the fields of simplicity. They took their stand in the garden of no giving. They abode in non-action and found easy nourishment. Their wanderings brought them to the true Tao. This was their wealth." Confucius called on Lao Tzu again, and this time asked him about the virtues of benevolence and righteousness. Lao Tzu replied, "When chaff from the winnowing fan blinds the eyes, then heaven, earth, and the four directions all appear to be out of place. The sting of a mosquito or of a horsefly can keep a man awake all night. Similarly, these so-called virtues of yours do nothing but muddle the mind and cause confusion. Let the world cleave instead to simplicity and the uncarved block. Let it move freely with the wind and abide in inner power. Don't go around huffing and puffing, beating a big drum as if to chase an errant child. The snow goose needs no daily bath to stay white. The crow needs no daily ink to stay black." When Confucius returned from this visit to Lao Tzu, he was silent for 3 days. His disciples questioned him, saying, "When you met Lao Tzu, what advice did you give him?" "Finally," replied Confucius, "I have set eyes on a dragon that coils to show off the extent of its body, that sprawls to display the patterns on its scales, a dragon that rides on the breath of the clouds and feeds on the purest yin and yang." My mouth simply fell open in amazement. How could I possibly offer such a dragon advice? Sima Qian, circa 145 to 86 BC, the grand historian, recorded a similar encounter in his biographical sketch of Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu was from Churen village in the southern state of Chu. His name was Li Dan, and he was the Tzu official archivist. Confucius went to Tzu to ask him about the rites. Lao Tzu said to him, "You speak of men who have long decayed together with their bones. Nothing but their words has survived. When a gentleman is in tune with the times, he rides a carriage. When he is out of tune, he makes his way disheveled as he is. I have heard that just as the best merchant keeps his stores hidden so that he appears to possess nothing, so the true gentleman conceals his abundant inner power beneath an appearance of foolishness. Rid yourself of pride and desire. Put aside your fancy manner and your lustful ways. They will bring you nothing but harm." That is all I have to say. After he had taken his leave of Lao Tzu, Confucius said to his disciples, "Birds fly, fishes swim, animals run. These things I know. Whatsoever runs can be trapped. Whatsoever swims can be caught in a net. Whatsoever flies can be brought down with an arrow. But a dragon riding the clouds into the heavens, that is quite beyond my comprehension. Today I have seen Lao Tzu. He is like a dragon." Lao Tzu cultivated the Tao and the inner power. He advocated the hermit's life, a life lived in obscurity. He lived in Zhou for a long time, but when he saw that the Zhou dynasty was in a state of decline, he departed. When he reached the pass, the keeper of the pass, Yin Si, said to him, "You, sir, are about to retire into seclusion. I beseech you to write a book for me." So Lao Tzu wrote a book in 2 parts, treating of the Tao and the power, in a little over 5,000 words. And then he went on his way. No one was able to tell who he really was. No one knew where he went to in the end. He was a recluse. The two accounts differ in many ways, but they have in common the vision of Lao Tzu as that transcendent, most auspicious, and most powerful creature, a dragon. He is portrayed as someone with a truly remarkable charisma, someone whose mana made a deep and lasting impression, a great man, a genuine immortal riding the clouds. Truly, in the words of the I Ching, the dragon flies in heaven. Draco volans in coelo. It profits to see a great man. The great man is the dragon. The yang which has been slowly accumulating is suddenly transformed. It attains perfect freedom. The soaring flight is free, effortless, and unhampered. The sage simply takes off, following the Tao as naturally and instinctively as if it were an edict of heaven. The 100 Schools. In both of these little books, the Analects of Confucius and Lao Tzu's The Tao and the Power, the Chinese literary language reached a new level of coherence and expressive power. It acquired the potential to articulate more complex and subtle ideas. They were most probably both compiled at the beginning of the period of still further intensified turmoil and civil war known as the Warring States, circa 475 to 221 BC, which witnessed the final disintegration of the Zhou dynasty and the ultimate unification of China under the harsh totalitarian rule of the northwestern state of Qin. These chaotic centuries saw the rise of many contending schools of thought across China, the so-called 100 Schools, all of whom were disputers of the Tao, claiming to possess a recipe, a way, or Tao, for both the individual and the ruler, for living and statecraft. One such school, known as the Legalists, or the School of Law, Fa Jia, advocated a drastic totalitarian solution to government, and this was the way of thinking followed by the ruler of Qin, infamous builder of the Great Wall, and according to some, burner of the books. A short work from the same period, The Art of War, Sun Tzu Bing Fa, is attributed to another shadowy figure, a strategist known as Master Sun, Sun Tzu, more familiar in its old spelling, Sun Tzu. It is a startlingly Machiavellian treatise in praise of cunning and subterfuge, which cleverly exploits some of the softer and more attractive kung fu-like maxims of early Taoism. Military dispositions take form like water. Water shuns the high and hastens to the low. War shuns the strong and attacks the weak. Water shapes its current from the lie of the land. The warrior shapes his victory from the dynamic of the enemy.